Hare Krishna. Were the Pandavas not legitimate heirs to the Kuru kingdom? Answer: yes, that was the accusation of Duryodhana, because he tried to cast aspersions on the parentage of the Pandavas. It was known that Pandu, because of a curse, could not beget children, could not impregnate his wives. So, with that knowledge, Pandu had renounced the world and had taken the retired order, and his wives had also gone with him. And suddenly, the Pandavas, after many years, Kunti came back. So the Pandu was told, it was told that Pandu was dead, and it was told that Madri had also died. And Kunti came back, and she came back with five sons. So till then, Duryodhana had thought that he was the sole heir, and he was going to be the heir to the kingdom, and he felt very insecure and envious of the Pandavas, and he tried to say that, oh, if Pandu could not have begotten sons, then how did Kunti have these sons? Then when so that's knowing that there could be questions like this, the Brahmins and the sages from the mountains, Himalayan mountains, where where Pandu had been living in a hermitage like place, from there in that vicinity, the Brahmins and sages also came with Kunti and the Pandavas, and they told that actually, according to the practice of Niyoga, Niyoga is a traditional practice within Indian culture and many other parts of the world also. When a dynasty has to continue and an heir has to be begotten, and if for some reason a man is not able to beget an heir, then another man can beget an heir through the woman with the husband's consent, and that is, there are various aspects talked about for this, that in this case what all is to be done so that it is an act of primarily procreation, not sensual titillation. But the point is that this is a time honored practice, and for that matter, in the Kuru dynasty itself, both Dhritarashtra and Pandu had been begotten like this. The it was Vyasdev who had begotten them in Ambika and Ambalika's wombs, because the husband Vichitravirya had died before he could beget any heirs. So the point is that if this practice itself is to be questioned, then what to speak of the Pandavas' claim to the Kuru kingdom can be questioned, and even the Kauravas' claim can be kept questioned. Even Dhritarashtra's claim can be questioned, because Dhritarashtra was not begotten by the main heir by the previous king of the Kuru dynasty. So then, when this practice is done with the sanction of respectable elders or respectable people in society, who then so that is accepted, that is fully accepted. So it was at the request of Satyavati that Vyasadev had come, and he had begotten children in the womb of Ambika and Ambalika. So just as that, the authenticity of that had never been questioned, it had been accepted. Similarly was the case of Pandu begetting children, or Pandu asking his wife to beget children through the Devtas. And Devtas are very respectable people, and in fact, they're worshipable people, and to be blessed by a son through them is considered to be a great fortune. And that this was not just a story which the Pandavas had spun to substantiate that. The sages had come there with the Pandavas and Kunti, and actually the sages are also not telling based on hearsay. The sages had actually heard before Pandu decided to use this practice of Niyoga for begetting children. At that time, he had consulted with the sages. In fact, he had requested the sages that they could beget a child in his womb, but they had been reluctant, and Kunti had been reluctant. At that time, Kunti had told about the mantra that she had been given by Durvasa, by which she could beget children. She could beget children in from the Devatas. And thus, Pandu had been delighted and he had asked various Devatas to be called, and therefore they had begotten children. So the point is, the Pandavas being, so when yoga is done, there might be some other man who begets the child in the woman's womb, but it's understood that the children are considered to be the couple's children. They are not considered to be the children of the person who has impregnated. That's why Dhritarashtra is not technically considered to be Vyasdev's son. Although that is the relationship in terms of purely of semen, but they is not considered. And similarly, the Pandavas are primarily considered to be Pandu's sons, although it's known that they are sons from the Devatas also. So there was no question of the legitimacy of they being authentic children of Pandu and therefore being the heirs. But Duryodhana was very envious, and Duryodhana wanted somehow or the other to stake a claim, and stake not just a claim on the kingdom, but stake a sole claim on the kingdom. And that's why he, at sometimes during the course of their long acrimonious relationship, he intermittently brought the issue of the Pandavas' dubious parentage in order to try to raise questions about their claim for the kingdom, and to try to thus boost his own claim. But actually it was a false argument, because Pandu had himself sanctioned this and the great sages had testified to this. So there was no question of the Pandavas not being legitimate heirs to the Kuru kingdom. Thank you. Hare Krishna.